All right. Hi, everybody. As Nicole mentioned, my name is Bethany. I'm our singer educator, and I'm so excited to be back with you guys this week to do another sewing project. We've been doing these almost every week this year. You know, in the past, we were doing like one or two a month, and now we're doing them almost weekly. So every Thursday, be sure to check over on michaels.com to see if we have another class. If it's not me teaching, it's one of my colleagues in our education team that'll be teaching some fun things. And I do have Amy Mulraney, who just popped up in the chat there. She is one of my colleagues here at Singer, and she's going to help answer some questions. She'll relay any questions you have or anything I need to show or repeat again to me while we're going along our project today. So be sure to leave those in the chat, and she'll either answer or pass them along to me to answer. Now, Nicole has just linked some things just a reminder. This is recorded, so if you want to watch the playback and sew along later at your leisure, you absolutely can. Just go to Michael's YouTube channel tomorrow to get that playback. And you should have already gotten the instructions that I make for you guys with all of the pretty pictures and everything, so you can follow along. Because some people like to follow along with instructions and video, or vice versa. So I make sure you guys have that. One of the things that I found out this morning is our pattern piece for our eye mask, which is a whole nother page that has this cutout, was not attached to this. So we'll be dropping that in the link for you all, or in the chat with a link. So be sure you download this and this, the pattern piece, so you have this as well. And just for today's class, because we only have a little bit of time together, there are 3 different projects in this tutorial. There's a pillowcase, which I have behind me here. There's the eye mask right here, which we're going to make in class, and the scrunchie. Now, out of the 3, I thought we would make the eye mask together. It's got a little more steps, and I want to make sure you guys are really comfortable with that one. But the other 2 are fully detailed in the instructions. You can make all 3. You'll have instructions to do all 3. But in class today, we're just going to do the eye mask because I always need more of these. I don't know about you, but I love sleeping with these. I don't know, it helps me turn my brain off. You know how I just can't turn the noise off sometimes. I'm always thinking about what I got to do tomorrow. And something about like having this eye mask, it like tells my body like, oh, it's time to turn the lights off now. So I love these, especially if you're traveling. These are great like on a plane and stuff. So we're going to make one of these today. So I hope you make them along with us. If you're going to sew later, that's fine. Take some notes in the margins of our instructions, because I'm going to give you some tips on how to work with satin. Now, obviously, you can make these projects with any kind of material that you want. I love a good velvet scrunchie. I love like a flannel pillowcase in the winter. Those are always nice, but we're going to do satin today. And the reason I chose this material is because it can be a little challenging to sew with. And I know people avoid this type of material, but hope after today's class you feel very confident to work with it. I absolutely love working with this material. I know, call me crazy. It's very slippery, but it's so pretty. And it's very good for your skin, like the pillowcases and the eye mask, to sleep with this. And it won't damage your hair with the scrunchie. So it's actually really good material to use when you're sleeping. And so we're going to learn how to sew this type of material today. And we're going to sew up the eye mask together. But let's go over to, let's see if I picked the right number. All right, so I've got my pattern piece here, and I'm just going to show you the materials that I've already prepped so that you know exactly what we need to make the eye mask. So I have one long strip here. This is 30 inches long by 1.5 inches wide. This is going to become our strap. So it's going to become this little strap piece. So we're going to make this. And then I have already used my template here to cut out my other pieces. So I have a piece of batting. You can use a piece of fleece, something soft, but not too thick. We do want it to be cozy, but not hot. Okay. And then I have 2 pieces of satin already cut out, and I cut out 2 pieces of just a lightweight interfacing. It's a fusible interfacing. I went ahead and pressed it to the wrong side. So there's a shiny side, and then there's a dull side of your satin. So this dull side is going to be the wrong side. So you're going to press that interfacing to the wrong side or the dull side of your outside pieces of your mask. Now, a couple of tips real quick when we're talking about pressing this kind of material. You do not want to use any liquid, so no spray starches, no steam. You don't want to use any water. You just want to use a very low heat setting. So I think my iron has like a satin, it has a synthetic or silk setting, I believe is what it's called. And that's what I put it on, and I let it heat up, and I don't move it back and forth. I just press. So instead of ironing, we're pressing. So I would take my iron and do that. So that's how I press these on. I just pressed and pressed and pressed. So there was no shifting or creasing. So you get a really nice smooth finish on the front. If you use water or any sort of liquid, satin can stain. If even with water, it'll leave like a water stain, and obviously we don't want that. Now, once I've sewn this up, I have thrown this in the washer on a cool setting. Just follow the instructions for that. But when you're pressing with heat, I just avoid liquid at all costs. Okay. Now you can see my interfacing did go a little bit beyond that, and that is okay. We're going to be sewing this up. Look, I already got a little water on there. It should dry up, but we're going to be sewing this together anyway, so that'll get caught up in the seam allowance. So it doesn't have to be perfect. We have our batting, and we need to hold on to our template because I've got a couple markings on here. Two of the markings that come with the pattern is where your straps are going to go. And I just drew this at the top. This is to remind myself to leave an opening at the top so we can turn it right side out when we're sewing. So when we get to that step, we'll be doing that. But I like to start with the strap first because we need the strap done before we can sew up the rest of the mask. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to take my strap piece here. It's nice and long, and I'm going to fold it right sides together down the length of it. Okay, we're going to go down the length, and we're going to be sewing right along this edge. We're going to leave like a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and we're going to sew right along this edge all the way down the length of this, right sides together. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to our sewing machine. And real quick, I know you guys can't see from that other camera angle, but I'll show it to you here. This is our Singer C5950. It's a computerized sewing machine. This was our first time using this machine in one of our Michael's classes, and I've been playing with it for a little bit, and I really like this machine. So we're going to play with it today and have some fun. Now, just to let you know, another tip with sewing with these kind of delicate materials is using a walking foot. So you are going to see me using a walking foot today. I have another one right here so I can hold it up close. This is a walking foot. I know it can look a little intimidating, but I promise it's not. Let me move that. Let me hold this up close here for you. All right, so this is the walking foot. All right, now this little bar right here is going to go above our needle bar. So as our needle goes up and down, this goes up and down with the needle. But when I do that, do you see these other teeth going up and down? So what this is doing is, you know, we have the teeth that are built into the machine, right? That helps push the material under the foot. But when you're sewing with delicate materials like this, it's also helpful to have teeth on the top so that it's basically grabbing and biting the fabric top and bottom and helping it feed it through evenly, because this material, like I said, is very slippery and it wants to slip and slide. So with a walking foot, these teeth are working in conjunction with the ones built into the machine to help it evenly feed through here, through your machine. Okay, so that's how a walking foot works, and it just attaches through the post right here. So let's switch back over to our sewing machine, and I'm going to turn it back around so you can see that I've got my walking foot on here, and this bar is sitting right here. And if I put the needle in the up position, that bar goes up with the needle and my feet come up. So you can see it kind of work together. It's quite a neat little contraption. And we're going to take our folded material. Now, again, this is slippery. I'm going to just fold it and go, but you can use clips. When I say clips, I mean these kind of clips. So if you wanted to fold it and pin it, you can. Pin it as in clip it. You don't want to use actual pins, because that satin is not a forgiving material. If you poke a hole in this, it's not going to go away very easily. It can also snag and tear very easily. So I prefer not to use pins that would go through the fabric when I'm sewing with it. I prefer to use clips as much as possible. And that's what I would recommend. So if you don't have some of these little, they're called quilting clips. I have a whole bag of them. And once you start using clips, it's really hard to not use clips. It's like my favorite. All right, so I'm going to line my material up with the right edge of my foot, but I actually need to do more of a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So instead of following the line here, I'm going to follow the edge of my foot. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to keep as much material under the foot as possible. It's going to give me more stability and I want to utilize those extra teeth. So what I'm going to do now is we're using a straight stitch, okay? So if I change the width of my stitch on a straight stitch, it's basically just moving the needle position, okay? So I am changing the needle position by changing my stitch width. And I'm moving it over closer so I have a little more control of my fabric underneath the foot, and I'm just moving my needle to get the seam allowance that I want. Now this machine does have a needle up down button, which I love. It's a great way for getting started with your material. And we're going to do a couple stitches and then I'm going to back stitch. And then I'm going to sew a little bit and then readjust to make sure that my edges are lined up. Now I saw a question about the walking foot compatibility. I'm going to answer that with the ones that I'm using are Singer walking feet because I'm using our Singer sewing machines. So I would just look to see if it would be compatible with your other machines. A lot of them are similar, but again, you would have to look at your specific machine to know the compatibility. And like Amy said about how it attaches to the shank, which is this post right here, how the feet attach to that shank can determine its compatibility or not. Okay, so that was a good question. Thank you for asking it. All right, we're gonna keep going. If you guys have any other questions, again, leave them in the chat. I'll try to look at it, or Amy will let me know if I missed something. And I'm so glad you guys are here. Let us know if you've ever sewn with satin material or any questions you have about sewing with satin material. One of my favorite garments I've ever made was a floor length like gown. It was a formal gown made out of beautiful satin fabric that had beautiful flowers printed on it. It was so pretty. And so if I can sew an entire gown out of satin, you guys can totally, it was 6 yards of fabric. You guys could totally sew these scrunchies and eye masks and pillows, I promise. The same tips I'm giving you today with working with this material is the same tips I use for making that garment. So. See here. We're almost to the end. I'm taking my time because, like I said, it is slippery and I did not clip it first. And that is okay. I get to the end, we are going to do a little back stitch. There we go. All right. So here is our tube. We're going to switch over here real quick. I've got cords under my desk, so forgive me for a second. All right. One thing that you're going to experience with satin is the hair, as I call it. That's different than fraying other woven materials. It literally is these soft little hairs. A way to kind of combat that is to use pinking shears and snip it with your pinking shears, which are going to give it that kind of triangle edge so it doesn't fray so badly. So you can absolutely take a few seconds to do this. And it just makes it a little easier to work with. We are going to be turning this right side out. So it's not the end of the world, but it does help remove some of the bulk here as well. Just going to make it easier to feed our elastic through. our tube. So I'm going to take just a second to do this. And by the way, these are some Singer. They're called zigzags. They're pinking shears, and they're wonderful. I really like the soft handle because some of these pinking shear scissors can be big and they can be a little heavy, but having a good grip on the handle makes a big difference, especially when you're trying to just snip a small, delicate fabric. All right. Selena asked, do you need a special needle when sewing with that material? Selena, yes, of course. I'm going to tell you. I was just thinking that when I was sewing it, and I was like, I need to tell them that. Okay, so in the instructions, I said that you need a 70-10 universal needle. It's just a smaller needle with it's going to leave a smaller hole. So remember how I said I don't use pins to hold my material together. I use clips because I don't want to put like a hole in my material. It's not very forgiving. Same thing. I want to use that smaller needle is going to help puncture this material easier. And then if you ever have to remove any stitches, you're not going to see it as much. Using a smaller needle, like a size 70, a 70-10 is what it's called. So I recommend if you're going to sew with this kind of material that you do take the time to swap out your needle for that purpose. Grab my other scissors here. There we go. All right, so made a little bit of a mess. Get rid of that. So here's my tube. Easy enough. And there's so many different ways you can turn a tube right side out. There's tools, specific tools for that. I'm kind of old school and I don't own any of those tools, but I do own a safety pin. And so I take my safety pin and I do poke a hole through this, but it's just in the end. And I take my safety pin and I just kind of feed it back into the tube. And let's see here. Should have grabbed maybe a bigger safety pin. Give me 1 second. Let me get through this seam. Let's just go this way. All right. So I'm just going to push my safety pin through and just gently pull this back on itself. Okay. It takes just a second, but I find this method really satisfying. So let's see here. Oh, okay. So everybody got the eye mask pattern, this pattern piece. I know it wasn't attached to the instructions. We apologize for that. It happens sometimes. So you should have it now and we'll make sure it gets attached for those who are watching the replay. So we want to make sure you have everything you need. So while you're watching, if you're not sewing along, you could be cutting out your material or taking some notes. There we go. Now, with Mother's Day being this weekend, this is a great gift for moms. But also, if you've got someone graduating high school or college or anything like that, this could be a great gift. I'll probably be making one for my son to take to college because he's going to college in the fall. And sharing a room with a roommate is going to be a new thing for him. So he may want an eye mask to block out some of the light while his roommate is staying up or something. So could be a good gift for a college or high school graduate. And then see, it's all coming right side out. And once you get past that point, it just goes pretty quickly. There we go. Look at that. How easy is that? Love it. And we don't need to press this or anything because we're about to scrunch it up with elastic. So the next thing we're going to do is take 1/2 inch elastic and feed it through this tube. It's going to be a little snug and we want it to be, but it's going to be gathered up. So this is 30-inch long tube. This is a 15-inch piece of elastic. Now I went with 15-inch. Okay. I went with 15-inch piece of elastic. But basically you're going to take a piece of elastic and wrap it around your head and kind of give it a little tug. All right. Can you see me? Did my camera just bleep out? I just want to make sure we're still okay.
I'm still seeing you fine.
Okay, my chat box disappeared and I don't know why. And it looked like my camera froze and I wanted to make sure you guys could still hear me. Sorry. little computer glitch today. We had some really nasty storms last night, so I apologize if okay, still fine. Thank you guys. Thank you for letting me know. I just want to make sure you can hear me. So the elastic is going to be based on your preference. So if you're making this for yourself, just take a piece of elastic before you cut it and pull it around your head and kind of bring it up to like the temples. And you want it to stretch, but you don't want it to be too tight. You can always cut it a little smaller if you need to, but I would always kind of try to measure. I gave you a 15-inch as a starting point, but you may need to go a little bigger, a little smaller. If you're making this for a kid, maybe a lot smaller. So do a little measure, okay? And then we're gonna feed this through this tube, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my safety pin off my tube and put it on my elastic. There we go. Look, these little satin hairs are just everywhere. And we're going to feed it into our tube here. And so since my elastic's 15 inches and my tube is 30 inches long, it is going to be pretty scrunched up on this piece of elastic. And that's what we want. We want it to be pretty scrunched like this. That's what we're going for. Awesome. Okay. We just want to make sure that we don't pull the elastic all the way through. I'll show you what I do when I get to the other end of my elastic. All right, so there's the end, and it did kind of go through a little bit. It got slippery. Let's see here. This is why I always keep some tweezers handy. Always. Always, always. It did slide down in there a little bit. Ah, there we go. So we want to keep it sticking out a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is take a clip, and that's going to prevent my elastic from going all the way into this because I do want this to kind of scrunch up. All right, so now we can keep going. Let's see. Really like this green color I picked out this time. Last time I did like a blushy pink color, but this little, I call it seafoam green or mint green. It's just very relaxing color. All right, so there's my other end. I'm going to take my safety pin off and put another clip here just to hold it in place. All right, and then I'm going to take it and I just do a few little stretches and see how it evenly like gathers it perfectly. Like you don't have to really do a lot of work. It's actually quite easy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our sewing machine and we're going to sew down both ends to hold these in place so we don't need the clips anymore. So let's switch back to our machine. We're going to leave this walking foot on for the entire project. And you just want to make sure that your elastic's not twisted either. So before you tack these down, make sure your elastic's not twisted in there. And we're just going to sew. And I'm going to go back and forth a few times. Using my back stitch, back and forth. Easy enough. There we go. It doesn't have to be pretty because this is going to get hidden into the inside of our eye mask anyways. Okay. We're going to do this side. Okay. Easy enough. So back over here, I'm going to grab my scissors and trim my threads. Okay. There we go. Now that we've made our strap, the rest of this comes together very quickly with our pattern pieces. So let's grab those. So again, you should have this. And what we're going to do next is mark with our pattern piece onto one of these pieces. Okay, so remember, I've already interfaced them. And I'm going to lay this down. Let's actually lay this down on this side. And I'm going to use a marker or fabric pen or whatever you got. And these little markings right here tell me where the straps go. So I just kind of lift it up and do a little line there. And a little line there. And then I added these markings at the top. This is 2 inches. Okay, somewhere along the top, 2 inches. And I'm going to mark that on here so I don't sew across the top. I need an opening that I don't sew to be able to turn it right side out. So I've got my markings transferred and I'm going to use my clips again. And I'm going to line up the center of my strap elastic with one of the sides where I marked it and just clip it in place. And then again, I want to make sure that this is nice and straight all the way across. And we're going to line up this one with this edge. And I'm going to tack this down really quick over on the machine just so it doesn't shift. Again, you could probably move forward with doing it yourself the other way, and lining up your other pieces. But when you're working with slippery material, it's good to take the time to do each little step so it doesn't get messy. All right, so let me switch back over here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab a sip of water because I am so thirsty today. All right. Any questions? Are we still doing okay, Amy? I don't want to get ahead. Okay, I don't want to get ahead of you guys and go too fast. I tend to do that sometimes, so I'm sorry if I am. All right. And actually, I'm going to switch back over here real quick. I realized what I did as soon as I did it. Let's flip it over. Let's flip it over. We can still line this up here. We want to sew that on the right side. All right, and we've got my elastic is nice and straight. There we go. So you want to clip this to the right side because we are going to sandwich it in a second, but let's tack these down real quick. All right, glad I caught that. I would have sewn those to the wrong side and been a little confused later. Just a simple little tack right here. And we'll come around and do the other side. Go. All right. Now we are going to sandwich this. We're going to make a little sandwich out of all of this. And this is why I like to, you'll see why I like to tack this down first, because it can, the weight of it can make it shift really easily. And I do take the time to snip my threads in each step. So now that I've got this here, it kind of wants to curl up in the middle, which is perfect because we're going to line up the top and the bottom. We're going to make a little sandwich here of these pieces. We just want to make sure that this stays on the inside. And this is where this bag of clips is going to come in really handy. So I like to start by lining up some of the obvious seams, like at the bridge of the nose. So I'm going to line up those first. And then we're just going to kind of clip around. And as we make our way around, we're going to kind of keep tucking this in. Now, one of my tips for working with satin is you can't use too many clips. Like the more clips, the more control you're going to have over your material. So take the time to clip a lot. I'm going to come back over here on this side and line this side up. And we're just gonna tuck it in like a little peanut butter and jelly sandwich with extra jelly. You tell I haven't had lunch yet and I'm hungry. All right. So I am going to shift that one. There we go. Taking your time to do this and get it on correctly is going to give you a better, more professional finish at the end. So don't rush through this part. The clipping and pinning is what sets you up for success when you start sewing it together. All right. There we go. All right. So there is my eye mask. I'm going to flip it over. I've got my little markings here of my no-go sew zone, as I like to call it. And I'm going to start at one end right here and sew all the way around and come stop at this end. And we're going to back stitch at both ends. And we'll remove our clips as we go, and we'll take our time to get all the way around all of these pieces. And yeah, let's go back over to the machine real quick. I'm doing that same 1/4 inch seam allowance for most of this project. So I'm just going to leave it at that setting on my machine. So basically, remember, I'm lining my material up with the right edge of my foot, and I've moved my needle over to make that 1/4 inch seam allowance instead of following the line here. One, because I want as much material under my walking foot, so I'm using all the teeth in conjunction to feed this material through evenly, but also I'm going to be sewing on a curve, which makes it a little more challenging to follow a straight line, but it makes it easier when you're doing it along the edge of a foot. So I always start with my needle in the down position, little back stitch, and we're just going to go all the way around.
Hey, Bethany,
Yeah.
is the interfacing on both sides a must, or is it just because it's a slippery material?
That's a great question. For this, I wanted it to hold its shape. My interfacing is also very thin. It's like something that you would put like for down the placket of buttons or to make a button down shirt. You could probably get away with not doing it. I just think it would be, this material can kind of warp when you're working with it. And that's why a lot of times you interface. And real quick, I'm just going to show you, I'm leaving my needle down, lifting the foot slightly and pivoting as I go around these curves. Okay. But anyways, if you were to do it without the interfacing, you would probably want to do what's called a basting stitch all the way around the edge to help it hold its shape, because it will warp on you if you're not careful. Again, why the interfacing makes it easier to work with. I will say the interfacing will get soft over time and as you wash it and wear it and stuff, so it won't add bulk. It just is at holding the shape. Now there are washable, like wash away interfacings. So if you really do want the interfacing to go away completely and not be left inside, eventually it will wash away and dissolve away when you wash it. That's an option, but using it while you sew it does make it a lot easier. Now you see I'm just kind of maneuvering this bulk here from the strap out of the way as I go around these curves. But no, that was a really good question. Who asked that? Thank you for asking that, Erica. And you can see my interfacing. I pressed it down. It still will want to come off of the satin. Satin can be a little challenging, but again, you see I'm taking it nice and slow. I'm not forcing it to do things it doesn't want to do. I'm still telling it that I am the boss and we are making an eye mask today. I like these kind of projects because they are a great introduction to working with this kind of material. So you can practice these tips that I'm sharing with you today. And then you can work your way up to doing other projects with this kind of material too. Like I did with my satin gown that I made, ball gown. It was so pretty. I just need another reason to wear it. I don't get dressed up very often, so maybe I should wear it to my next Michael's class. That would be kind of funny. Just to have a reason to wear it. All right, I'm gonna stop and back stitch at my next marking. All right, and there we are. Let's go back overhead to this camera. That turned out great. I'm just gonna snip my threads. And see how I took my time, so I was able to hold that shape of the curve all the way around, especially around the bridge of the nose. So it looks nice when it's all said and done. All right, there we go. I just keep dumping these on the floor, so I'm gonna have a mess to clean up afterwards. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to lay our batting. This is what gives it that fluff. You can use any kind of batting that you want. We're gonna lay that down, flip it really quick, and we're gonna follow that same stitch that we just did to secure this. You could have done this at the same time, but again, if it's your first time working with this kind of material, I recommend that you do each step individually, just to have most control over your material as you're sewing these curves. But you'll see with the walking foot, it does make sewing like a slippery material with a thicker, fluffy material. It will evenly feed whatever you put through it, which is really nice, really important. So I am making sure that since my markings are here, that I am clipping this to this side, but so I don't forget to stop sewing. And I keep saying that because, I've done it before where I've sewn my opening shut and gone, you know what? I can't turn that right side out if I sew it shut. All right, so we're using our clips again. All right, now we've got our batting. We're gonna sew around just like we did last time. Should go a little easier since we've already got it already stitched in place. So let's go back and do that again. If you do not have a walking foot yet in your arsenal of sewing tools, I highly, highly recommend getting one. I find these one of my most used tools. My needle was down. There we go. I find it very helpful, especially with I always use it with my straight line quilting. Helps get through the bulk. But I'm able to sew through this material. And right here, I'm sewing through 2 layers of satin with interfacing, a layer of batting, and that elastic. And it's not a problem at all. I'm not getting any pull or shift on my material because again, you can see these little teeth are working with the teeth underneath to give me a nice even feed. So we call it the even feed walking foot, and that is what. Couldn't be more literal with that description. Yeah. Now my foot's getting in the way of some of this bulk, so you kind of have to stop and move that back up towards the top so this lays nice and flat. Okay. No. I am really enjoying this Singer machine today. It's the Singer C5950. It is available at Michael's if you're interested or looking to upgrade to a computerized machine. You'll see that my machine is automatically leaving the needle in the down position because I've selected that feature on the front of the machine, which is absolutely one of my favorite features of a computerized machine that you do not get on a mechanical machine. It makes doing projects like this much easier. All right, let's move my little strap back down to the other side. Right. There we go. Let's come back over here. We're doing a lot of back and forth today, which is fine. All right, so one thing that we're going to do next is we're going to take a second and snip around the corners of this because we sewed curves. Sometimes curves do not want to turn right side out very well. We want to take some time to just do some little snips. And these are probably not the right scissors for that. I wish I got, maybe I have some bigger scissors. Let's see if these will snip. No. Should have brought my bigger fabric scissors in my studio today, and I did not. But you just kind of snip around the corners. It's doing it a little bit. This batting's just thick. You just want to snip around the corners. It will help break up that material like that. So when you turn it right side out, it turns and holds the shape better. Another option is to use your pinking shears, which I think I'm going to do. Just want to make sure you leave a distance from your stitches so that you don't cut open a hole and you turn it right side out and you're like, wait a second. I do recommend kind of doing this, especially around where the elastic is. So it kind of takes down some of that bulk. The only place you don't want to do this is where your opening is, because you need enough to fold it in to be able to close it. Okay, so just really focus on those curves. Across the top is usually fine. That elastic's a little hard to cut across with pinking shears. There we go. Doesn't have to be pretty. This is going to be on the inside, but it makes the outside look pretty when you do this and you take the time to do this. Let's get this side. Oh. There we go. I'm really making a mess today. This might be the messiest project I've made in a while. All right. Now's the fun part where we get to reach in here in between our two satin layers and pull our strap out, which is going to help us turn this right side out. So there's one side. This is why we like to backstitch. We want to make sure around our opening on both sides so that it doesn't pull the opening any bigger. There we go. And then we're going to use a tool called a corner tool. I use it to run it all the way along this curved edge, all the way along my seam allowance, all the way around. There we go. Gonna help us point out that shape, that curve. This is looking nice. I was thinking about gifting this, but I may just keep it for myself because why not? Make myself a whole set. Let's see here. There we go. Ah, that looks so nice. Now we have a little opening here. We're just going to fold this in. And the proper way, I'm going to put a little clip here. The proper way would be to just do a little hand whip stitch across there, okay? Find a matching thread and just kind of whip stitch it, and then it's seamless all the way around, okay? If you want to top stitch, you absolutely could, and you could just do a top stitch all the way around. Make sure that you give it a good press before you do. But if you just want to whip stitch it, that's what I did here. And just whip stitched it closed. And then you have no seams on either side, and it's probably a little better that way for having it up against your face. But there is our eye mask. There you go. What do you think? You like it? I hope you guys are going to make one. But yeah, these are super fun. And then in the instructions, don't forget you have the instructions for this pillowcase. This pillowcase does have like the fold over so that on the opening, it folds over into the pillow so that you don't see the pillow at the opening, which is really nice. And then you also have the instructions for the scrunchie. So you can make a whole matching set and gift it to someone for May, for Mother's Day, for graduation. It is also Mental Health and Wellness Awareness Month. So if you've got someone who could just use a little love and care, this is a great way to make something for them and also practice your sewing with satin. So I hope it helps you learn those. Definitely need to make those for gifts. Yes, Nicole. Does it matter how thick the batting is? It really doesn't. It's totally up to you. This is just some quilting batting. I think this is just a cotton batting that I used. I just have a stash of batting, so I just pulled from my stash, but it's totally up to you. The thicker it is, the thicker it's going to feel on the face, but again, it's totally up to you. Where are the instructions? They have linked the instructions right here. Nicole just dropped a link to the instructions, and right above your question, she dropped a link to the eye mask pattern as well, which is a PDF. So you'll get, let me grab that off the floor. I threw them down. You'll get the instructions and the pattern. They're two different downloads in the chat, okay? And they are on the website as well. So you can go there and get them where you signed up for the class. They're on there as well. They'll also be linked in the description of the YouTube video that will be available. This class replay will be available tomorrow on Michael's YouTube. So you can get them in the description there if you go back and watch the replay. But I hope you guys had fun in class today. I hope you have a wonderful and very relaxing May. I know it's a busy time of year for a lot of us, but summer is almost here. And so I hope you enjoy it. Make something for yourself. Make one to gift to a friend or a family member. And I will see you. Let's see here. Amy, who do we have up next week for class? I can't remember off the top of my head. Did you drop the next class in here? Oh, thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you. Next class is next Thursday, fancy fabrics and decorative stitches. So I will not be teaching, but I will be in the chat helping answer your questions. One of my colleagues is going to be teaching that wonderful class. Amy just dropped the link. So if you are interested in working with unique fabrics and doing decorative stitches, go ahead and click on that link. Same time, same place next week on Thursday from noon to 1 Central Standard Time. You can go ahead and sign up so you get the instructions for that next class, and I'll see you next week in the chat. And I hope you have a wonderful time, and happy Mother's Day to those who are celebrating. All right. Thank you guys. See you next week.